city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, and Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself. Look, I can't get into the psyche and the motivation of this organization. We're all grateful that, there's a winning team on the field. This weekend, obviously, is incredibly important, and there's going to be some pretty decent weather for us to be able to, clinch a playoff spot for the first time in a long time. So that's a good thing for our city and the morale of our city, and, as far as what their motivations are, I can't speak to that. And my position has been very clear. You all know that. There's not been a politician in this city that has worked as hard as I have to ensure that the Bears have that.
Fans saying that they are expanding their search for a new stadium location because Illinois leaders aren't showing any urgency to help with infrastructure. Our Lauren Victory talked to fans in Hammond.
Indiana Governor Mike Braun is pouncing on this idea. He says, let's get it done. Commuters heading into Chicago from Indiana agree.
I'm very excited about it. I hope that really happens. So go Bears.
I think it'd be great for Northwest Indiana. I think it's been a sort of economically has had less opportunities for stuff like this.
And I think it's a good business move for Chicago Bears. They'll be able to own the stadium. They'll be able to have a larger capacity stadium.
The Bears seem to officially scratch Soldier Field off their list earlier this season. Team president Kevin Warren sent an open letter to ticket holders in September indicating their eyes are only on Arlington Heights, where they own property. Now a new letter from Warren indicates some trouble in the northern Illinois suburb. He says he wants a financial commitment for roads, utilities, and site improvements and needs some concrete details about property taxes. Warren says a lack of urgency from state leaders is forcing the team to look elsewhere, including the Northwest Indiana region. He writes, "This is not about leverage. We spent years trying to build a new home in Cook County." One Indiana resident we spoke with is skeptical this is all a big game.
There's no confidence in what the plan is at all until the Bears get 100% of what they want. Good luck.
Are you tired of hearing the back and forth?
Yeah, I definitely am.
Leaders from Arlington Heights don't seem to be sweating too much. Quote, both the Village and the Chicago Bears remain confident that their Arlington Park property in Arlington Heights is the best option for their new stadium and entertainment district. Their statement goes on to say that the Village does need help from Springfield legislators to keep the team in Illinois.
All right. Now, some of y'all are like, why are you talking about your Chicago Bears leaving Chicago? Because our favorite mayor is about to lose an historic football team. And I'm going to show you why. All right, I'm going to show you why. I got this brother right here, and he's going to go through what was said in the letter, because the letter was said to what was put out for the fans. The reason why I put out the fans, obviously, is because they want the fans to complain and get the politicians to think about what they're doing so they can get the the stadium built in Arlington, because they already bought the property in Arlington, right? But it's not happening the way they want it to happen. And so they put out this to kind of use optics, right? So let's see what the letter was all about, because the letter is very important.
They're not going to get public assistance financially here as well, and they're pivoting on this Arlington Heights property. This is the rendering for that, which they own that land. They're not going to get any help there, so now they're floating Indiana out there. But before we get into all of this, we need to step back and talk about Soldier Field. The Bears have been trying to get out of that situation for quite some time. It was originally built in 1924, one of the oldest venues in the NFL, although it obviously fully got renovated more than 20 years ago back in 2002. So it is old, the site's old, but the stadium and the structure are still relatively new enough. It's not big. In fact, it's one of the smallest NFL venues, but the Bears still are under lease there. They have a lease there until 2033, but we should be clear, they can terminate it I think as soon as next year. There is a pretty heavy
So you heard that. They don't own it. They're paying rent. They don't own it. That's important. It's very important. We won't go into why, but they don't own it.
hefty penalty per year to terminate it. But if they wanted to, they could get out of this a lot sooner. I'm not suggesting they're trying to get out of it tomorrow and jump ship and go, I don't know, to St. Louis. I'm not suggesting that at all. But they can get out of this sooner than 2033. The Bears currently at Soldier Field, they get to keep all game day revenue, including the money from tickets, parking, and concessions, and everything else on site, again, for game day revenue. But therein lies kind of the problem. Parking and access and ingress and egress, just the location of this stadium with the lakefront and the shore of Lake Michigan, basically, right to the east, it doesn't allow for people to approach this stadium from all angles. So it's hard to get in, it's hard to get out. The size, the overall situation, it's suboptimal for the Bears, who are trying to make a lot of money off of having Chicago Bears football games, right? On Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and whenever. So the Bears just are suboptimal in a lot of ways, and that's why they've been trying to get out of Soldier Field. They probably would also like to own and operate the facility. They don't right now. They pay rent to play at Soldier Field. They get to collect the revenue, but they also have to pay for it. They'd probably like to control their own land, their own stadium, and their own destiny in that manner. And that's why they started talking about buying this site at Arlington Heights, which they did. They closed on it back in 2023 for almost $200 million, $197.2 million. They bought this site of a former horse racing track, 326 acres in total. It's about 30 miles west of downtown. Now, when I say that, it might take 45 minutes to get you out there. It might take an hour and a half to get you out there. It depends how traffic is moving. But it's about 30 miles west of downtown Chicago, and specifically,
So it's in the suburbs, y'all. That's what he's saying. It's in the suburbs.
30 miles west of current Soldier Field. But they bought this land.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were pretty committed about doing this project. And in recent weeks and months, we hadn't heard much other than thinking, well, they must be doing renderings. They must be getting things ready. Like, you bought the land to build the house. Why aren't you building the house? What's going on here? And then we got the letter, which just came out on the 17th of December from.
So this letter, right, is going to illustrate why, right? Let's bring him up real fast. Why
Keeps them.
this person right here is full of shit. This is the letter is going to talk about why he's full of shit right here, right? Because he talked about how he wants the Chicago Bears to be in Chicago and all that. And the letter is going to illustrate y'all are really not putting enough effort to make this deal happen. So let's go into the letter. But I'm just pointing it through. I'm just making sure our focus on why I'm bringing this video up, because it's about him.
Warren, he's the Bears president and CEO. He said this, and he wrote this letter. This is part of it. This is not the entire letter, but he wrote this directly to Bears fans.
Oh, my bad for the commercial, y'all. My bad. My bad. My bad.
And he wrote this letter. This is part of it. This is not the entire letter, but he wrote this directly to Bears fans. Earlier this season, we shared that Arlington Heights, that stadium site I showed you, is the only location in Cook County that meets the requirements for a world-class NFL stadium. We still believe it offers the best and only path forward in Cook County, given there are no other viable alternatives. Over the past several years, we have worked in good faith with Illinois leaders and made clear our commitment and readiness to invest more than $2 billion by the Chicago Bears, one of the largest private investments in state and NFL history. We have not asked for state taxpayer dollars to build the stadium at Arlington Park. We asked only for a commitment to essential local infrastructure, roads, utilities, and site improvements, which is more than typical for projects of this size. Additionally, we sought reasonable property tax certainty to secure financing. We listened to state leadership and relied on their direction and guidance, yet our efforts have been met with no legislative partnership. Just interpret that part right there, which is highlighted. Basically, they're trying to call this out to the public that politicians and government entities, probably mostly at the state level, have just not shown much response in trying to get them the funding that they're requesting for infrastructure surrounding.
That is who? Pritzker and Mr. Johnson. That's what it's about. Our favorite mayor of Chicago and Illinois' governor, right? Now, this is important because obviously, the people that live there don't have control over the politicians, right? But they can vote them out. And so this is a way to try to gain leverage, right? And a little influence, because from what this letter is stating is that these people, right, in charge of the government of Chicago and Illinois are saying in here, your project to redo the stadium is not important to Chicago. It's not important to Chicago. It's not important. Even in this letter, it's going to talk about they don't like next year, 2026. This is not a priority, right? And it's going to go further in here, but this is very telling, right? Because in Chicago, they have a revenue issue. We all know professional NFL teams bring revenue to cities. Not just the team, but the team, right? The stadium, and then the vendors and the businesses around the stadium make a lot of money, right? So we'll see. Let's see.
This 200 plus acre site, 300 acres. What did we say it was? Stable timelines are critical, as are predictable processes and elected leaders who share a sense of urgency and appreciation for public partnership that projects with this level of impact require. We have not received that sense of urgency or appreciation to date. Like, that's really calling out some select individuals and some select places. Basically, nobody's helped us. Nobody's shown us the love. That's what's coming from the Bears. We have been told directly by state leadership our project will not be a priority in 2026, despite the benefits it will bring to Illinois. Taxes.
State, that means Pritzker, right? So you can tell me where his focus is on Donald Trump, not on, improving Illinois. Just think about, right? Chicago is known for football and the White Sox. And in this video, they're talking about how they're doing the White Sox dirty too. But I'm just saying they're going to lose a staple of their freaking city because of the governance is so bad.
Construction jobs, those benefits. Consequently, in addition to Arlington Park, we need to expand our search and critically evaluate opportunities throughout the wider Chicagoland region, including Northwest Indiana. This is not about leverage, the Bears say.
It's definitely about leverage. Listen, we're not stupid. We're not slow. It's definitely about leverage. This is definitely a way to get the public on your side.
Spent years trying to build a new home in Cook County. Well, if it's not leverage, why are you doing it in this fashion? Why aren't you keeping it internal? Why are you going public with this if it's not leverage? Are you trying to give fans and citizens a heads up? Are you giving them that benefit? Or are you playing this game with Governor Mike Braun here, who decided to take the Bears' initial tweet of their statement and retweet it? This is the governor of the state of Indiana saying, the Chicago Bears recognize Indiana's pro-business climate, and I'm ready to work with them to build a new stadium in Northwest Indiana. This move would deliver a major economic boost, create jobs, and bring another premier NFL franchise to the Hoosier State. Let's get it done. Oh, I'm sure the Indianapolis Colts would really love the Chicago Bears sharing that same state of Indiana. I guess they probably don't care. It's still far enough away, but really, two NFL teams in the state of Indiana? Really? The Bears jumping state lines? I'm very familiar with this part of the country. For the last almost 15 summers or so, I've flown to Chicago at some.
So this is where
Governor of the state of Illinois, JB, has a spokesperson say this on behalf of the governor's office.
So this is Pritzker's response to the Bears considering leaving. And in this response, you're going to understand He don't give a fuck. He's saying, listen, politicians know how to say things. I think Donald Trump is probably the only one that says it how we would say it, right? How a regular person would say it. But politicians say, nigga, leave. I don't care. That's pretty much what this letter says. Nigga, leave. I don't care. But in a politician way. So let's.
He has a spokesperson say this on behalf of the governor's office, suggesting the Bears would move to Indiana is a startling slap in the face to all the beloved and loyal fans who have been rallying around the team during this strong Bears season. The governor's a Bears fan who has always wanted them to stay in Chicago. He's also said that ultimately they are a private business.
And that's pretty much saying, like, nigga, it is what it is. Do what you got to do. it is a private business, which means we're not bending. We're not coming to the table. We're not going to do any business with you. Do what you got to do, homie.
Basically, I love you, but good luck if you move. So I also want to point this out. The Bears want to leave Soldier Field because guess what the Bears could do if they had that stadium in Arlington Heights, that domed stadium instead of the outdoor stadium at Soldier Field? You know what they could do? They could host an NCAA basketball Final Four in that domed stadium in the suburbs of Chicago. You know what else they could do? Host a Super Bowl. Chicago can't do that right now. That's why they want the indoor stadium. You saw that overhead view. You saw that map. They want to do that entire development by themselves. Like a lot of baseball teams, they want to be a real estate company. They want to own all that land. They want to charge rent. They want to have the value of that site go way up. That's what the Bears want in all of this. And they just don't want to pay for all of it themselves. Rebuilding at Soldier Field, right? They pivoted on that because the site was going to be too expensive. We can't put a dome stadium here. We're not going to get any help. We're pivoting. So we're going to go out to the suburbs. In Arlington Heights, it'll all be better. And then they get out to Arlington Heights, point number 2. And it's the same situation. We're willing to pay for the entire stadium, but we need help with the surroundings.
Then that goes to the governance of Chicago and getting help. And like I said, they don't care about making money in Chicago. They don't care, they don't to lose an NFL team is insane, bro. Like, what is Oregon was about to lose? Not Oregon. Yeah, Oregon was about to lose Amazon. So I mean, when you're in these liberal, weird ass cities, bro, it is what it is. They don't care about money.
And that help doesn't exist from maybe a county level, certainly a city level. Like if Arlington Heights, they can't support that. So they're looking to the state of Illinois, and the state has always said you're kind of on your own. Same thing with the Chicago White Sox. They would love a new ballpark in the South Loop at the site of the 78, and they've kind of been stonewalled in their efforts with the state. The state has said, we're not going to help you out here. $1 billion is what you want from us. We can't help. So it should come as no surprise, like the Bears would run into this problem unless they pay for it themselves. Going public like the Bears did here, that statement, to put it out to fans, as a plea to fans, what are fans going to do with that? Write to their politicians, hey, Governor Pritzker, can you change your mind, please? It doesn't work that way. So why would the team come out with that statement? Because it's tactical, right? It gives everybody a heads up of where they're at, but it's also the game that kind of puts Illinois on the clock because they know that Indiana was going to jump in the chat, right? Fans don't have enough like power or influence to make politicians change their minds. Fans won't be enough to influence the politicians here.
Absolutely not. I agree. Right. But it is showing and illustrating just how like the politicians don't care about the regular people. They don't care. They don't care. Chicago is a football city, right? They go to football games in the snow. Like it be snowing during the game and they still there, like with snow all over them. That's how much they love their football team. Do you think the politicians care about that? No. You think Brandon Johnson care about? No. You think Pritzker cares about? No, they don't care about that. And they don't care about all the millions and billions that are going to leave and go to Indiana. They don't care. And so I'm making this video to show you just how horrible their situation is, bro. This is horrible. I want to say either Green Bay or Chicago are like the two oldest NFL teams in existence, and they're going to lose that. I'm out.